regular planning meeting for Thursday, August 26, 2021. Let the record show we start at 6:04. Please join me and a salute of the flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
with
and
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Here.
Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Director Nyman.
Here.
I'm Director Garcia. Good evening. Number 2, adjustment of the agenda if necessary. Do we have any needs in that area? Hearing none, I'll move along to number 3. Any public comments from our public? Not hearing any, I will move to unfinished business. Discussion vote update on Fraser Park Lake of the Woods consolidation planning project. A, discussion vote update on test wells. Johnny,
I know that
you want to handle?
Yes, sir. We Dee and Curtis were up here. They checked along with myself to make sure that everything was returned to a good state at the test well sites. And Dee stated he was going to file the notice of completion for the test wells.
Very good.
Okay. Discussion vote on extending the project timeline. Is that a moot point at this point now?
No, we have all
I do
the
not.
rest of the project, so it needs to be extended. We have a sheet in our packet, but there's some questions on the MOU date. There's some other dates that need to be extended. But I think without D here, I don't know if we can vote on that.
Well, we need D.
I'm trying to get a hold of Dee right now. Let me put you on hold.
No, looks like D is involved in quite a few of these next ones.
Dee's the one who sets out the timeline. I thought it was I guess he sets it out and then Oscar and Carlos just fill it in. Okay.
Yeah, D needs to have the dates of when he'll have the, certain reports done.
Well, isn't that what he's written on here? Like the draft engineering report, September 2022.
Okay,
Yeah.
he must be out of cell phone range or something. He was down somewhere looking at a treatment plant. So I guess we'll just have to table the stuff that I can't answer for you.
Okay.
I mean, I think we can take these dates into consideration, but I don't think that we can do a complete vote on this being changed. So I think probably we can consider these dates and then we can talk about it at.
Well, don't we have to send this to Lawrence because the state's going to have to extend the contract?
Correct. But the contract's not expiring yet, so.
Well, it expires by April.
No, April of this year? No. 2022, I believe, right now.
2022. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got plenty of time to revisit that and send it to 'em.
Now, the question is, are those dates that Dee put or are those dates that Lawrence could put? Because remember when Lawrence sent the,
I don't know. I'm assuming these are the dates that Dee put. But you don't know who wrote the you know?
no, the timetable chart was sent to us by Lawrence, and he had put some future dates on there. So I don't know if Dee has even gotten to look at it yet or changed dates.
Yeah, okay. So I would say that we need to carry this over because we can't really discuss this with Dee.
Well, if we can get them in range later, we can revisit.
Okay, letter C.
Same thing with C. Like we can't really talk about C. We don't know. Don't believe we.
Same thing with, it's the same thing with D as well.
And E.
Correct. We don't know if any of those things have moved forward. And
I think there's an update on F, I believe. Isn't that the one that Lawrence, I didn't read the email good, but
yes.
okay.
I do.
So we
I
could
do
address
know,
that.
just to address E quickly. It looks, it says check with FPUD board on the task for the MOU, but it was moved on this chart way forward to January 2023. It's probably a lot more likely than before that. So, but that's all I have on that.
Okay, how about F?
So we did.
We got an email. Go ahead,
Right.
Lisa.
We did get an email from Lawrence that I answered, saying that he was good with our changes. So let me just see if I can find the email super quickly and read
It
it.
was like $30,000, I believe.
Yeah. So he hold on one second. Just see if that's going to come up easily.
It was for the consolidation.
Right here. So basically Lawrence wrote, "Hi all, I have reviewed and approved the request to move $30,000 from contingency line item to the planning line item for LAFCO consolidation related tasks of engineering and MSR best." So Tiffany had sent him just our budget request was a letter that basically was saying that it showed that we were moving consolidation engineering. The budget was originally 0. It was revised to 17,000, and then consolidation MSR originally 0, revised to 13,000, and then contingency originally 163,689, revised to 133,689, reduced by 30,000. So the other two items totaled 30,000, and then contingency was reduced by 30,000, and that was okayed.
Okay. How about G? Discussion vote on claim 9.
Have you got something for that, Tiffany?
I have some potential mistakes on there, just a couple. Do you want me to bring those up, or should Carlos
Yes,
talk?
please.
There's a whole report in the packet.
Yes, there is, and I have some questions about. I have some mistakes or some questions and then some potential mistakes. So on page Okay, well, this is just a really dumb thing, but on page, the cover letter, I don't know if you want to separate the number symbol from agreement and claim, just a space. That's just a really dumb thing. Right at the top, the RE, Carlos.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the cover letter.
Yeah, let me get to it real quick. I have to find it.
I don't know where you're at either, Lisa.
I'm on the
First
cover
page.
letter for
First
the
page.
line.
Oh, I'm sorry, you breaking up?
The cover letter for claim 9 in our packet.
Thank you.
It's the first page of the claim. The first thing I had was just a really dumb thing, which doesn't really matter for the claim. I just wondered if Carlos wanted to change it now so it comes up correctly on some.
Yeah.
And it's just there just needs to be space, RE spaces between the word and the number.
Okay, between claim number 9 is supposed to be a space between there.
No, you see where it says project funding agreement pound and then claim number 9. Yeah, both. It's not a big deal. You may want to.
Okay, so you want me to separate agreement from number?
You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just saying you may want
No,
to.
that's the way it's been since claim 1. So, but I can
Really?
change it.
And I
if you want.
just got it now.
Yeah,
That's
you
pretty
just caught it
sad.
now because I haven't changed that.
Well, it's been a long couple years, but yeah, I don't know. So you can change it or not change it, but yeah.
Yeah, I can do it. It's not a big deal. I'll separate
For
that.
some reason
So I'll
on the
separate.
smaller claim, I noticed it.
Okay.
What I did have a question on that front page as well, that we're going to report quarterly. I know we were reporting quarterly because we were claiming quarterly, but I thought that Lawrence wanted a report submitted with his claim. Brief
No,
report.
the reports are always quarterly. We never do monthly reports.
Yeah, it's just the reports on what we've accomplished.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
So the thing is though that we're changing the claims to monthly, but even if we change the claims to monthly, the report is still only quarterly.
Okay. So you're gonna do a report on the next claim.
Yes, there'll be a quarterly report on the next claim. So every quarter there'll be the report, but we'll be doing a claim every month.
Okay. So that was the question, and then on the page, so then there's a second page. Go to the third page. Still have, somebody's really noisy. If you go to the third page, we still have Terry Kelling listed as board president. I don't know if that's. I don't believe
that's been fixed already. On the sheet that. Well, this is just a draft, and I always change it and for the final one, because once I change it to PDF, then I can change that.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that gets changed, and also the contingency amount is wrong on that page. Still, it's 92,000.
Yeah, we can't change those numbers.
Yeah, that was the original one. That's the one we asked about before.
So I thought we were changing that as we got okay from the state, but no. Okay.
No, those numbers, we can't change these sheets. Like, I'm surprised that we can change the name because Terry's no longer the president, but those numbers have to stay on there, the original numbers.
Okay, and the amount incurred to date is not accurate. Is that not changed? Am I noticing this now under column 3?
The amount incurred to date, they get changed afterwards. So we don't put like the 4,000 or actually the 146,129 will go into incurred to date on the next claim.
Fine.
Right, but isn't there additional already incurred today?
Well, that's the way we've been doing the claims to where we don't claim this one because it hasn't been approved yet. So we don't claim it as incurred until after the fact it gets approved. So it'll show on the next claim that the 146 was incurred.
Right, but I'm saying that the 62 can't possibly be right because that's only showing the amount incurred on this.
Well, I have to check what the last claim said, but I did
Okay.
I did carry over what was claimed in claim number 8.
Okay, yeah.
So
Can you
maybe
just
it's not
check on-
reflected on here, but it should be.
Yeah, I would just check on that because that seems not correct.
Yeah, I'll check on it.
Further along, so there's claim 9 funding agreement. That's a cover page. Then there's another cover page. Then on the claim 9 task 1 and 2 summary of costs, there's a mistake under 7/22/2021. The planning, project management, administration, and legal charges. It's got an ad hoc in there when it's supposed to be a planning meeting. So it's got an ad hoc at 66.66 a director. That's not correct. It should be $100 a director, and it comes to 500. The total's correct, but the wording is not correct. It has an asterisk ad hoc meeting. It's the last one down for 7/22.
Oh, where you have 66 per director, it should be 100 per director.
Well, and it's not an ad hoc.
Right.
It's a planning meeting.
Yep.
Did you see that, Carlos?
Yeah, I was talking to myself. I was on mute. I was like, yeah, I'll change that. I'll change that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and I think that comes up twice. So it comes up once there, and it
And
comes
then
up
on the next page,
next
yeah.
page. Yeah. And then just a note to us, I have concerns about the total that's left, which is only like $4,000 in that line item, and we're gonna need to pull from contingency to cover additional direct fees and admin costs. So at some point soon, we are gonna need to talk to Lawrence, write yet another letter changing that amount because I think there's only, I think I saw 4,000 left in that line item, which is probably not enough, or I know it's not enough. I mean, it doesn't have to be this claim or probably even the next claim, but soon. And then the other thing I saw was on actually that one was correct. Yeah, so I think that's it. Those were the ones that I noticed.
Okay,
I'll get those things changed, and that way we can send this claim out. Do you guys want me to get it back to you guys, or just change it and get it sent off?
We don't have the invoices on here, so I just I mean, usually in the packet when we do usually the way it works when we okay a claim, we have all of the information for that claim. I mean, it kind
All
of
the
says
documentation.
right. It says it on summary of cost, but normally what we do in this meeting is that we read out what we're actually and okay what we're actually paying on that claim. So normally we would read out the invoices. We would read out that we're paying for the director's fees. We would read out that we're paying for the Young Wooldridge and the invoice numbers on those.
Briefly, he did include that in the whole packet, but what I print for the board packet is all the summary sheets. That way you don't have 100-page claims.
Oh, okay.
And the invoice numbers are on the little summary sheets if you want to read the
Yeah,
invoice.
you could read them from the summary sheets.
Okay, so do we want to do that? It's just that I don't really want to do that because I don't have them right in front of me. I think I had it on.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. Okay, on project management administration, we had on 6/17, $100 for ad hoc, two board members. 6/24, 4 for the planning meeting. We had $400. We had on 7/15, 2 board members ad hoc, $133.32. We had on 7/22, we had a planning meeting, and it was $100 per director, so that's $500. So the total for management administration was $1,100.33. Sorry, no, $1,133.32. Then on the for test well and design, for engineering, admin, hydro, and test well inspection, we had invoice dated 6/30/21. It was invoice number 2106056B. It was engineering admin contract for $396. On July 31st, invoice number 2107051-B. That was hydrologist work and test well inspections of $17,595.99. Then we also had July 31st invoice number 2107052-B for engineering admin contract, $7,623, which came to a total of $25,614.99. Then also under test well drilling, we had for test on 7/27 for test well drilling wells 1 and 2 with Johnson. It came to a progress payment number 1 of $116,308.50. So if you add that together with the engineering, hydro and test well inspection of $25,614.99, it comes to a total of $141,923.49. So $141,923.49. Sorry.
And you skipped the Young Wooldridge and the,
I am going through them as they are presented in my claim packet, Miss Director Schoenberg.
I'm sorry, they're presented differently on the summary I'm looking at. So okay.
So, okay. I'm not on that summary page. I'm going by the page, the way they are in my
Full
contract.
claim pack. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
also under admin project management charges, there was $66.63 for June for FPPUD staff admin costs, and July 2021 was for FPPUD staff admin costs of $102.50, which came to $169.13. And also, so I am a little confused, Carlos. Hold on. I got to look at that page. So Carlos, how do we, we get to the, okay, so then we do the Young and Wooldridge, okay. and then that all adds together to be the total, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then I have on dated 6/30, invoice number 78614, reviewing lease, so it's $118. On 7/31, invoice number 79605 for legal printing charges is $23.25. And then 7/31, invoice number 79604 for test well legal work. That's all Young and Wooldridge charges. That was $2,762.75, which comes to a total of $2,904. So the total for the basically staff, admin, and project management charges is $4,206.45.
The total of the claim comes to 146, 129.
Yes, and the total of the claim comes to $146,129.94.
And then I just have a couple quick questions before we approve this. And one is that Tiffany, didn't we prepay at least one of the Young Wooldridge charges on here? And then I also wanted to just note that we will be prepaying the well drilling directly to, because we have a contract with Johnson Drilling. We did not make out the check for this evening, but we will be prepaying the $116,308.50 and then recouping it when we get paid by the state. So we'll be taking that money out of our capital reserve and paying that amount directly to the driller who we have the contract with. It's not a check in our financials tonight, but we are going to vote on it because it will be cut on Tuesday and then taken around to be signed. We didn't have the invoice number when we were cutting the checks. So I just want to note that. And I don't, Tiffany, were any of the Young Wooldridge paid already? I believe.
I don't think we prepaid any of the Young Wooldridge. I can double check, but I don't think we did.
So I'd like to move that we accept and approve claim number 9 with the amendments that we mentioned to Carlos and with the inclusion of these various bills.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Nyman is second that. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 5, discussion, vote, update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project.
Okay,
A,
at this
discussion,
time,
vote.
wait, Director Garcia, at this time you want to note, I don't believe you noted the time we went into the business, but we need to note the time we're out because we're now off the planning project.
Well,
Okay.
Can we go back and revisit the project timeline because D is here?
Oh, D's here now? Okay.
Okay, welcome, D. Okay, we want to discussion, vote on extending the project timeline, D. Can you lead us off on the discussion?
Who, me?
D?
D, was this
Yes,
that we received from Lawrence, was these your dates that you requested from him?
right, I don't have those in front of me, Brahma. I'll have to, I just got in, I'll have to get those up on my computer. I think I changed a few up front. And I think there were a couple on the backside that I left intact. Let me see where
So we were not sure, Dee, if these were your dates or Lawrence's dates, because he had given us some dates and you had given some other dates. So the page that we have in front of us, that was tucked in our packet, under the agreement, are those your dates that you penned in?
It was a combination. I left a couple that he had placed on there, and I
Okay.
changed a couple as well. Let me see. Time of the project, there it is. Yeah, here it is. Lawrence had written and suggested some dates. Under number one, the MOU, as you can see, I wrote a check with the board, but I pushed that off to January 2023. We had decided that we were not going to complete that until a little bit later once we had the design and everything else kind of completed.
Correct.
So I indicated that we needed to push that off. The test wells, plans and specs, that of course that's completed. The hydrological assessment report should be done by the end of October, and I'm hoping sooner than that. Ken and I met last week and went through a brief summary of his report, and we'll take his report and then add that to a report that we'll write and then issue it. So the hydrogeologist we met and there were some changes that needed to be made. And this is Thursday. I think I should be able to, anyway, I should receive those by the 1st of next week. As soon as I receive his work, then I'll write our portion of the work. So I put October 2021, not just hedging a little bit. If we've got to put a date down, I know that we can get it done by then for sure. Draft,
What is that, the draft swap?
that's it's an assessment that is done. It's a source water assessment that we do, which looks at it looks at all the possible sources of contamination for the well, and it's required by the state. And of course, it's in our FA as well, a requirement. And what we have to do is go through all the listings of state hazardous waste sites and any other sites that we're aware of that could add to or could contaminate our future wells. And so that's an assessment that is done after we have to reference a number of EPA sites and do a bit of research to develop that report. So that's what it is. It's a source water assessment program, and we that's one of the other things that we have to do.
I have some questions about that and the number 3 things, because it seems like we're pushing them a little too far off. Like, I'm wondering why we need to, like, the draft engineering report isn't
That's
that
a year off.
Yeah.
Well, that's a complete review of the entire project.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that's going to take a while. Well, we're going to try to get it done before then, but these are some of the dates that they want to put down on the calendar, and I want to make sure that we're able to meet them. The final engineering report, once they've had a chance to look at them, I put that off a couple more months. Because normally what happens is we turn it in and then we get comments and we have to go back and revise.
I can't hear nothing.
Bill just told Sabbath that
Right, I'm concerned maybe that the draft engineering report might need to be a little bit earlier and the final engineering report stay where it's at, because you only have a couple of months, 3 months between them. And I'm concerned that, it always takes us a lot of going back and forth.
Well, that's from our experience, and that's the date that we have selected. Really, once we get the reply from the state, we hope that there aren't too many changes that we have to make, but there will be. So we hope that the first edition that we sent out is complete enough that it won't take very long to change it. But we have had requests that have required us to go back and do a bit more work, and we've done that. On the environmental documents, I left those.
I just feel like it doesn't give the board that much turnaround time either.
Well, it's just from our experience with the state, and we feel confident in those. We did the very same thing at Weldon, and that's pretty much what was required, and that's basically from experience.
So are you going to be going over, as you're compiling this? Are we going to have a chance to go over as, previous September 2020, as you're compiling these different parts of the report, so that we have more time for, if we have issues or questions?
Oh, absolutely, Lisa. Yeah.
So, because I'm just concerned that because you have September 2022, that's when it's going to appear, and I just want to make sure that that's not the case.
No.
That's when it has to be complete.
Yeah.
So that means that we have to have it, a couple months before that.
Well, what we'll do, and I think what Lisa mentioned was kind of how we do these things. We write them in sections. And so as the sections get prepared, they'll be reviewed by the board. And so they'll be being prepared and reviewed by the board as we go along. And so it won't be, that you'll get this monster report at the, in September.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, have a good evening. We need
we have a week to look at it, and
this will be plenty of stuff to read and plenty of things that we consider. Environmental documents, I left those the same.
Because those are for the entire project, correct? So we're not really needing to do that until we have everything, all the construction planned out for the most part.
Correct. Yeah, we have to have it all mapped out. And then the engineering design, the draft plans and specs by that date, but of course we'll have a lot of work done before then, and again, reviewed by the district.
So basically we're pushing the whole, we're asking them to extend the contract for 2 years.
Yeah, these were Lawrence's suggestions down here, and he's suggesting that that's what we do.
Okay, no, it's fine. I just, because we just need to make sure that they send us an approval, because otherwise the contract runs out, before we, in this next year.
Yes.
So what I don't see on here is the MSR and the where do those fall? The MSR, the sphere of influence, the consolidate, the actual work with LAFCO.
They're they fit in really in the between 2 and 3, really. You know, the MSR, you know, we need to get going on that.
Don't they need to be added as tasks? Because that was my whole issue, that stuff kind of fell by the wayside because it's all on pre-planning. Never able to finish it on the pre-planning.
Well, they can be as a task on the list, and put on probably on.
But on the contract has to remain the way this contract was signed, even though we've added the tasks and they've approved it in there. I mean, it's kind of probably like the same thing they've done on the claim form, where the claim form has to keep the original figures.
I think that's right, Rama. And these are the main categories, but we can go back and check that and see where, you know, we can put it in as in section number 2 as a fourth item. But yeah, we do have to kind of stay within the confines of the FA.
I just don't want to skip it again because, you know, it was approved by Lawrence to go into the, you know, as a line item, both the MOU and which the MOU is already on there, but the MSR, but you know, it's not mentioned anywhere.
Well, once we got all the test well information complete, then we can start working on it. So we can safely assume, like Dee said, that we're going to get it done by the end of December of next year, when we just start working on it.
Right, I get that. I just don't want it to get missed as a deliverable. So I think maybe we should ask Lawrence about that at the meeting.
I know that we've got to get it done. That's for darn sure. And I think, do we have an item on that on our agenda to?
Well, we just got approval for the line items for your engineering cost and for the 13,000 for the MSR from Stan Hoffman Associates.
Oh, okay. So we can start on that anytime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He approved our budget request, and we moved $30,000 from contingency into those 2 new line items.
Okay.
So you have 17,000 and Stan Hoffman has 13,000 as a line item.
The I think, let's see. Yeah, I'm just thinking about we have some additional property to add up in Lake of the Woods. I think Joan had sent me a map that she wanted some other lots and some other areas included in the consolidation. And this MSR will be for the consolidation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're covering the whole thing. So those lots and the demands there need to be added in.
Yeah, everything got rolled in. So, and you know, so both on the east side and the west side, we need to make sure that everything we've been talking about thus far is part of that, because it all was agreed upon that all be added to the project. And I thought I saw some of that already. The map that's sitting in the office, I thought I saw that was a newer map. Am I wrong? I thought I saw that some of that stuff had been included.
Yeah, no, we haven't added anything yet. So
Okay.
we'll have to add those extra lots there and everything else that we had planned to serve, and the MSR, you know, cover those. So I don't think we need to, I think they need to be included in the sphere of influence mapping that we do, which, is, I think, an easy thing for us to do, to add in those extra lots and up in Lake of the Woods. And then also there's one in between that have, they've requested, I don't know whether formally, to join the district, the ones next to our Wainwright well site, French Wainwright.
Right, and one of those I thought wasn't in there.
That's correct. And I think it's the one right next to us. It's the ones just to the west of the well site. And I think that's it. The rest of them, I think we had in there. The Lutheran Church, I think we have to add that one in. And then I think there were a couple on the east end that we need to add in too. So what I need to do is get with Johnny and we need to redline our map, and then.
Can I be a part of that? I want to make sure that.
Absolutely. We could meet up at the district and go over the map and make sure that, mark it up. And then that will become the map that we use for the sphere of influence. And we'll keep the annexation. I think that probably we'll have to check with Lawrence, but I think that maybe the most expeditious thing to do with respect to the annexation and LAFCO is to annex and consider that we're going to join what we have already mapped, and then add these other properties to the annexation once we have the consolidation made. And I'll double check that, but I think that's kind of what we're settling on. That it would be much easier to annex once we've got the annexation completed with what we've already mapped.
Right, that we were going to have a larger influence than annexation.
Yes. Yes. So we need to do that. I can certainly add that to the really between 2 and 3, and I'll add it as item number 4 on 2, and and we'll make sure that we have. I don't think it'll make any difference to Lawrence if we add that on. And I think it's a good idea that makes that a deliverable that is listed, and that way we don't forget to get it done.
Okay, well,
I'll add
when
that.
does the data collection and the mapping start?
The mapping is already done. The data collection, we have a lot of information already. There's a list of things that are needed. The listing was put together.
Point of order. Well, we haven't finished the deliverable timeline. So I would like to make a motion that we approve the extended project timeline and have that sent.
I don't want to approve it yet. We're going to he's going to amend and add in the.
Right. I was going to add with the changes. So,
but do we have a date for that?
I can make the changes tonight.
What date do you want for the MSR?
Let me talk to Stanley Hoffman and find out a little bit about their timing, and then we'll dovetail that.
I think we're okay on voting on this. I'd like to carry this over to our regular meeting, because I think as long as we have this correct for our regular meeting, then we could discuss it with Lawrence at the state meeting and get approval.
So D, we need to have that information for our next regular meeting, which is the what date in September?
I'm looking, hold on a second.
One is just taking too long.
That is
The 9th.
9th, yeah.
So September 9th, we need to have that information so that we can approve that timeline, and then of course,
That's on the 16th.
well, I think we can approve it and just send the request to him because he already sent us the timeline.
Right.
I can add that to item number 2, right under the draft swap.
Okay,
And,
yeah, and the dates in there, and then we can approve it on the September 9th meeting.
Right, and it would be in the same time frame. It would just be another item that's added on.
Okay.
So, but that'll be what we'll start with real quick here, kind of get things going. Okay, I'll mark that up and get it up.
Are you gonna change that then? Because right now it just says test wells and that doesn't really fit per se under test wells. Are you going to
Yeah, I think this is kind of Lawrence's scheduling that he put together. I could put it under engineering report, and that would work too. We have the same date, and actually it
that
probably
probably makes more sense, yeah.
I'll put it under
because
number
it-
3.
And it's engineering money that's paying for that,
Yes. Okay.
except for the TA funds that are paying for the LAFCO.
Number 3. Okay. Okay. I will do that. No,
Go.
I'll get the form, and you might even get it tonight.
Okay.
I can make those changes.
Lisa, were you talking about where to put the
MOU.
No, the MSR.
I mean,
MSR and stuff like that?
MSR.
Sphere of influence and the MSR, yes, sphere of influence mapping and the MSR.
Because the way Dave had the he's got a worksheet where he puts which is the third one that's in the claim, the third worksheet. He's got consolidation engineering and consolidation MSR. He's got it under 4A planning, management, administration. So planning subtotal is a total of 44,800. So I don't know if you want to include that stuff under that category the way Dave has it, or maybe talk to Lauren.
In the tasks, it's not written that way. So in the tasks, the deliverable tasks, there's 1 project management, administration, and legal, 2 test wells, 3 engineering reports, 4 environmental documents, 5 engineering design, and 6 contingency. So, I mean, it fits less under a number 4 environmental. I mean, I certainly think we could talk to Lawrence about changing it to not just say environmental documents, because definitely 4 would make sense that we're doing all this other stuff as well, because the environmental documents are for the entire project. This is for the MSR is for the entire project. The sphere of influence is not necessarily, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because I'm not.
Yeah, it'd probably just be best to talk to Lawrence of where would be the best place to put those under.
Are you going to do that, Carlos? You're going to ask him?
I can.
Okay, that would be good. And then let us know. And then the thing is, Lawrence then has to revise his list and send it to us, and then we can put the dates on that we put on here.
I don't have that timeline right now that you guys are looking at, so but I'll take a look at it.
Can I suggest that we not do this separately, that we talk to Lawrence? I think we still have like a month. I mean, the original dates were not ending until 2022 anyway. So I think if we discuss this with Lawrence at the next state meeting and then put this on the agenda to approve at the next planning meeting, rather than what I said originally, putting it on the regular meeting, I think that we have enough time to do that. And it's going to make more sense, because I think we really need to have kind of a discussion with Lawrence about the best places to put things. And we could do that since we're all together already on the state planning meeting. That seems like the most logical time, rather than, going back and forth with emails before that.
And I agree with you, Lisa. We still have a lot of time to change the schedule. So it's not like we don't have time to change it.
Right. So it kind of makes more sense to me for us to all have a discussion about it at the state ad hoc, and then have it on the planning meeting so that we can approve, whatever we come up with for next month.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So we'll defer that to the state planning meeting. Correct?
Are the other directors okay with that?
It sounds
Yes.
like a good idea.
Yep. Me
Okay.
too.
Okay,
Okay, so, move on to C. Discussion vote on district sphere of influence and for annexation, data collection and mapping.
well, that looks like that's in my wheelhouse too. And so I think we've pretty well discussed that just in this previous item. And
So the mapping is complete, Dee?
No.
we're going to get together next week at the district and then complete that sphere of influence map. And then it will be complete.
Okay. And the data collection?
Data collection, we have most of that data already. A little bit of it has to be updated now that we have our test wells. And so we'll update some of that. And we'll make sure that we have the latest number of connections. And Joan has a really good record of these, all the connections that are being served up in Lake of the Woods.
And this has to do with the MSR, correct, Dee?
And it has,
Because we're got to update all the figures on the MSR.
right,
Both. We're on C because we really need the district sphere of influence first, so that we can't, because that's separate from because the MSR is going to say what we
reflect
for the actual annexation.
Yeah.
As opposed to, our sphere of influence may be bigger and it may not be addressed, all of it in the MSR, correct? I mean, you want to project forward, but we're not. I mean, I guess it does need to be addressed, because you can't really adopt the MSR, the sphere of influence, without having it addressed in the MSR. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so yeah, so they both have to do with each other, but yeah, they both. So
Right.
the
They're
sphere of-
interconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. D, discussion vote, project municipal service review,
So
MSR.
that's really what we were just talking about. So they're interconnected, C and D.
Yeah, so C and D are pretty much dealt with.
For the most part, other than D said he's going to talk to Hoffman, well, it's not Stan Hoffman, but forget the
Right.
name. That's the company, but you're going to talk to them to try to get an idea on what a timeline might be for that.
That's correct. And about the data and, what I'm going to provide for them, we'll firm up the list and then we'll move ahead.
Okay. E, discussion vote on revised Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods transfer agreement, MOU.
Okay, so that's way forward from now. That's we're talking about on the
2023?
yeah.
Okay. So that will be something to bring up at a later date. F, we've done that. G, done that. 5,
So can you note the time then?
yes, I have 7:04. Let that be recorded. And we'll go into discussion vote update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. A, discussion vote on amended specifications for well number 7.
Don't have them yet. I've got a draft on the Wainwright French well specifications. I don't have a draft on the,
D, we're talking about the replacement well.
oh, yeah.
We're well 5 replacement.
Which we don't have yet either. I mean, Dee's right. We don't.
I
have
know,
that.
but he.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
We get confused.
Yeah, they're, and
Thank you.
so do I, but they're tied together, and I guess that's what I was getting at. The type of drilling that we're going to use for the replacement well for well number 5 will be the same type of drilling that we use for well number 8, which is the one down there at just, on SEA's property. So those two are tied together. And once I have those specifications, I know Ken's working on them in Fresno, then we will revise our specifications for the replacement well for well 7. So sorry for the confusion, but I'm easily confused.
So they're still pending and we'll carry them over.
And can I ask a question on those?
Yes.
I know that we have this grant for well 7, and I know that theoretically we have to wait for the whole construction project theoretically for a well 8 and a well 9. But is there some way you think to break those out of the, I know they're part of the bigger annexation project, but if we are finding that the things are going well and we're going to have someone come up and drill a well number 7, should we start thinking about the possibility of somehow breaking those out, since there's, potential money, I'm just concerned that at the point where we do the larger project with all I'm just wondering if there's some way to break those out earlier, because the test wells were included and theoretically, well, 8 and 9 are included in the bigger project, but maybe it would behoove Fraser Park to at least the Saya well to try to do something with that sooner.
Doesn't that money have to come out of construction though? The construction phase?
Well, I'm saying that maybe we think about approaching the state to see if there's some way to address drilling that other well. I mean, depending on what happens with well 7, addressing that somewhat separately from the larger annexation portion.
I would like that.
Just to make sure that Fraser Park is in enough water,
That
so.
would sure make it clearer, right? It was broken out.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't even know if we can do that, but I mean, I just think I'd like to explore that possibility, at least for the quote unquote well number 8. I understand that 9 wouldn't make sense until we actually had pipeline going past, the Wainwright French, or it makes sense as being part of the bigger project, because it wouldn't make sense as a well yet because we're not even connected up there, but well 8 would potentially. So yeah, I just want to put that out there I have no idea if that's even a possibility, but I just want to put that out there so maybe we can explore it.
I think we probably should kind of think about what we have to do in order to get to that point. One is, we need to finish our engineering report on the wells, which Ken is working on, we'll be working on as soon as we get his stuff. Then the second thing is we got to own the property or lease the property. I have to come to an agreement with SEA if that's where we're going to go, and Wainwright for that matter. Once we've determined that they are a good well site, then we have to have an appraisal. And we'll have an appraisal of, taking the well site, and then we have to get into negotiations with SEA or the new owner and lessee.
And that's still going to be handled under the consolidation project, though.
Well, I don't know, because we still, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that what if the consolidation, first of all, the consolidation project.
I understand that, but this is a point of order that we have to, you might want to put this on an agenda that we can discuss this separate, because we should be talking about well 7 itself and what we need to do to get that going. It's point of order.
You're right. So I would want that to be on to be a separate agenda item.
Okay, that's
But a lot
regular
of it
meeting.
still has to do with what we previously discussed under the consolidation. So it's kind of a tricky.
Kind of a gray area.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've already
You're
moved
right.
on
Well,
from.
you're right. We need to move on. I'm just throwing that out there. So, okay.
Okay, will be his discussion vote update on going out to bid for well 7, which we can't do until the specs are done.
So when you're talking about the specs, you're talking about updated specs because of what you found out from the SEA property?
Correct.
That you feel that it's going to be the same composite, but I had my question for that is, you're only drilling 100 feet from the original well 5 site. Don't we have that information of how we drilled it and what we drilled back 50 years ago? I mean, would that rock formation change?
We do, and it was discussed at a previous meeting where Dee actually mentioned, and Johnny as well, that when they drilled well number 5, that they ran into some of the same issues with boulders and different, rocks of various sizes.
Okay, I must have tuned out when you were saying that.
Yeah, and the bad thing about it, Brahma, is that if we get down there, we might get lucky and not hit those big boulders. But if we get down 150 feet, hit a big old boulder size of a Volkswagen, we won't be able to get through it. So we'll just be stopping at that point, apparently.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's not good.
No problem. I just,
Cool.
And that's why I tied 8 somewhat to 7, because they're only tied together right now in the sense that they need to be drilled the same way.
Right. But we need to get these specs done quickly so that we can go out to bid, so we can get moving forward on getting this new well.
Right, but until all the reports are in from Ken Schmidt, we cannot move forward. So we're waiting.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tiffany, let's just keep that going on the future agendas for such time as we have some new information on that.
And we want to add a discussion about possibly buying the SEA property and maybe trying to get money to drill a well before the construction project.
As an add-on or as a separate topic?
Yeah, as an add-on.
Okay.
Because Lisa wanted to discuss that, and I think it's a good thing to discuss.
Okay, great. That, Tiffany, I'm sure you got that.
I did.
6,
Thank you.
thank you. Discussion vote on emergency repairs to the Wolf booster and tank site. Number 6, Johnny?
Yeah, we just signed off on that. That project is complete. Everything's perfect. And so we'll be done with that. I would imagine we'll be getting the retention that we have to pay, right? Right, Dee?
Right, that's right.
Okay, so that'll be the last check. And I'm sure we'll receive that, and probably we'll just continue this on the next agenda. Pay it as soon as it comes up.
Sounds
Discussion number 7, discussion vote update on the Cal OES community Power Resiliency Allocation to Special Districts Grant. A, discussion vote on professional engineering cost proposal, phase 2 and 3.
Well, can we actually discuss that? Because right now we're really just at the bid at B, and we're not discussing the additional engineering costs. We just did the initial engineering costs so that we could come up with what we needed to actually bid on the generators. So aren't we holding off on 2 and 3?
I thought we were going to vote to go on the street with those specifications. We've corrected them. Lisa, you
Right,
had
with
comment?
the bid package, that's B. But you had said a phase 2 and 3 for engineering costs. So we don't have any more engineering costs right now because we're not engineering anything yet. We're just trying to buy the generators.
Yes, yes, I
Correct.
stand corrected.
So actually should have been rewritten different. So we would actually want to discuss the bid package for the generators.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, I guess that's in my wheelhouse. We discussed that with Johnny, and Lisa was on the phone, and we went through the specifications. Brahma, you were in person there at the meeting. We were actually came up and had an in-person meeting, which was kind of nice for change. And we went through the specifications. Curtis came up and we reviewed the specifications. There were a couple of changes that were mentioned and recommended by the board. We've done that, and we're ready to go on the street with the specifications for bidding on the.
And you want to tell the board what those recommendations were, Dee? I know that the one was on well 7. We were checking the load.
What I wrote on my specification was where that was.
I think it was A1.
I remember the topic of what it was. It was just simply to make sure that it wasn't over-spec'd for all 4 boosters as well as the well running.
Right, and number 5, what we were concerned with is what if we replace well number 5 with a bigger motor, and so we're looking into that, and we'll make those changes. Now, I have not talked to Curtis about that today, but I've got a note to myself to talk to him about it tomorrow. And
Right, because we were talking about, because that says for well 7, 70 horsepower, and we were talking about maybe going to what, 100 or 120?
Well, we don't want to go too high. Curtis mentioned that, and we want to make sure that we don't go too high again, but
Right.
But we just stay within the operation parameters of the generator. And so we may, what Curtis is looking into is, do we add 10 horsepower to the well? And if we do that, how much more capacity does that give us? And so then we go with an 80 horsepower load, or if Joe Prevender recommends that we go with 100, then we'll do that.
But we certainly didn't want to go with 130 like the one that we currently have.
Yeah, and I wanted to comment on that, Lisa. We found out that the 130 generator we got,
I just watched myself.
the 130 generator we got is actually a 200 kV generator. It was upsized during the grant, but they didn't change the outside sticker. So the reason why it's been too big for us is because it's literally twice as big as anything that we would
that's
need.
crazy. It's like it would run the whole district, but we can't do that.
Well, some people over-engineered things. But Dee's not doing that, so.
Yeah, not us. But
Quadnoff just went, bigger is better. And, in the years past, before all this smog, that would have been perfectly fine. But the problem is with the new smog tier 4 compliance stuff, it's a lot more critical than it ever used to be.
Because it has issues when you try to power.
And the other thing, I mean, we're talking about going out to bid, but we also talked about ensuring that the air quality is okay with us going with a diesel generator, that it qualifies for
The San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control Board.
Right. So I think we have a couple of things that need to be done that are not on this current bid packet, bid proposal.
If you can approve it with those changes, that would give us the ability to go ahead and make these changes and just get these darn things on the street. I'm a little concerned about the timeline on
Waiting
these.
too long, yeah.
Yeah, and I would feel really good about that because the San Joaquin people are right out by D, and they're very easy to talk to as long as COVID doesn't lock us out of the office. But they're easy people to deal with, so I'm sure D could clarify that really easy.
Okay, I'm just bringing it up so that we have it on the record and that it's been taken care of, because I don't want us to get into a situation where we think it's okay for that and then we end up having to pay money back because but obviously.
So you guys could approve it on the condition that the San Joaquin board is gonna permit us for those generators.
Right.
Yeah. And that we check on the well number 7 specs.
Yeah.
Would you like to make a motion, Director Schoenberg?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we approve the bid package, bid package that we have with the amendments that we mentioned. We need to have Curtis and D deal with the what was just previously mentioned.
San Joaquin Air
San
Pollution
Joaquin Air Pollution District
Control Board.
generators comply and will comply for enough years that we're not wasting our money. And secondly, that we have the correct load for well number 7. And with those changes, I'd like to approve this bid package to be able to go out on the street.
And do I have a second?
I will second that.
Director Nyman has seconded that motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly. Director Kelly. Have we lost her?
Well, she's on here. Director Kelling.
Director Kelly.
You're
Waiting for your vote.
muted. She's muted.
Okay. Director Kelly, you're muted. Director Kelly. Huh. Anybody got a visual?
No.
No, probably have to do with her absent.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on. Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. We'll have 4, 0, 1 abstention. Motion carried.
Did you?
Is Director Kelly back with us yet?
No,
Still
she is not.
Okay, moving along. Letter C, discussion vote on purchasing the generators.
That'll be carried over.
Okay,
Well, isn't that now the same? Because if we're going out, because
No, it's not
we
the same because we'll go out to bid and then that line
we still
item
have to
will
get the
actually,
prices.
yeah, that line item will actually apply to accepting the bid from whatever supplier we
right,
have.
but it should be it should be changed because it's not going to be purchasing the generators. It's gonna be opening and approving the bid, really.
Okay.
That's fine.
So Tiffany, can you change that for us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tiffany.
And we also need to update the board that at this point, the problems that we discussed with this purchasing the generators is that the timeline, we're supposed to spend all the money by March. And the timeline, a lot of the other companies in California who's gotten these grants has said that they're like a year out. And the OES has said that they would not extend the date we had to spend the money by that date. However, we're trying to get to see where we could purchase them. And then if they're past the date, then we have to petition them, and hopefully with other people having the same issue, they will extend the date so that we can spend the money and get these generators.
So
Director Nyman, I get a point of clarity on this. Would a date of purchase equal the date that we take possession?
Yes,
Once you put your order in, you got to pay. So
Right.
that in
Right.
effect is the money.
well,
is
we
spent.
had that.
Well, actually,
Go ahead, John.
I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah, actually, what it is initially there'll be like a 10% payment and then possibly a 30% payment, but it still wouldn't be the full expenditure of the funds. So that's why if we move forward and we have all these steps that we've already accomplished, we're hoping that when we submit all of that and keep them fully apprised of what we're doing, that they'll grant us the extension.
And we're
Okay.
supposed to give them a report by November. However, we want to get the bid process done so that we can give this information and give them an updated report, like Johnny says, step by step.
Okay,
and I guess I'm a little bit wrong on C, because if for some reason they demand the money back because we're not able to make the final purchase for the generators in time, then we would have to discuss whether we want to purchase them and install also. I mean, there's a whole installation part that needs to be in here that's not either to be able to be discussed, but we probably would have to discuss whether that money would come out of pocket if we had to send back money to the state.
I agree. Yeah, that's great. So possibly, are you recommending adding a D line on there and have discussion vote on engineering and also add the other change that we had on accepting the bid?
Yes, yeah. So I mean, I guess C could be opening. I mean, C could become,
open and approving bids.
approving the bid, and D would become, if we have other issues with the state, whether we purchase the generators, still move forward in purchasing the generators and information about installation.
Okay.
Perfect.
Will you carry that over, please, Tiffany?
Yep.
Okay, let's move to 8, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. Discussion vote update on project funding.
Okay, I think we need to have a discussion because I had been talking to Dave Warner some on this, and I'm kind of in agreement with him. Originally, so we have a conference call tomorrow, which I hope you're going to be on, Johnny, at 10 o'clock. I don't know if Dee was invited or not, but it's with the DWR, and it's also with the control board with Jesse and with Lawrence. And
I think it'd be really great if Dee was able to be a part of that.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Jesse, well, basically Lawrence and them were talking about the control board doing the preliminary work and then eventually giving us construction funds. And I'm of the mindset that we should look at the $10 million from DWR because it included all the preliminary engineering stuff. It also includes construction of the pipeline. And my thing is, like Dave said, one in the hand is better than two in the bush. What my concerns are is that if we get this agreement for $10 million and we sign this agreement, we are locked in, we have the money is already allocated, and we can move forward and take care of our piping. If we go the other route, we're kind of at the whim of the control board, which has taken a long time for them on a lot of things to fund construction. And we also don't know what the 2020 census is going to do to our standing in the community, whether we're going to continue to be a disadvantaged community or not. And if we've already have signed agreements for the $10 million, they're not going to be able to take that away. That will already be done. And if they just give us the money for working on the preliminary stuff and we're working on the preliminary stuff and then that comes out and we're no longer disadvantaged, then we won't be eligible for 100% grant funding. And so I'm concerned about that because that's kind of a wild card out there. So
I personally would rather just stick with DWR that they solicited us and all the water companies to apply for this money. So they want to give us the money. The way it sounds with the water board is, yeah, you have the money, but it's not really a commitment.
Right.
So we'll work towards that. So I would recommend we just stay with DWR if we can, and we won't know that until we talk to them tomorrow.
Well, and that's the thing. We have to be in agreement on that so that when we go on the call.
No, there's some issues that I don't think we can decide that we're in agreement on, and that is that what Lawrence was trying to say is that DWR will not sign on with us until they don't pay for the investigative part of this. They only pay for
That's not true. That's not what the letter says.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I thought regardless that self-help was going to try to use safer funds for the potholing.
They were, so that, but I also understand what, Lawrence, so I mean, it's a little confusing because and the rest of the board wasn't there to hear this. So what Lawrence was saying was that because they're already working with us, there's already a channel to do things that so with self-help, there's already contracts with self-help and the state water board that
okay.
Hold on, please. So basically what he was saying is that there's already this pathway. What Dave is saying is that that's not as much of a guarantee as if we just signed with DWR. The one thing that Lawrence was trying to say, and I'm not sure whether it's correct or not, is that initially that you have to have the engineering plans and specs and everything in order to actually get a funding agreement. And we're nowhere near that. So what they were saying is that no matter what we do, if we don't have the money for that, so I guess that.
Okay, can I say something, Lisa? Because I have the letter that was sent to the DWR from Self-Help Enterprises, and in there it has in there engineering costs preliminary $290,000, engineering design $1,271,700, engineering and inspection $400,000, $50,000 for legal. So it does have the preliminary engineering and the potholing work in this letter. And then I have the letter from DWR that tells us that the they've approved the funding not to exceed $9,851,450, which is exactly the letter that Self-Help Enterprise sent showing preliminary engineering work in there.
So possibly tomorrow when we have the phone call, we could clarify a little bit better and know what to do.
Let me
Okay.
interrupt for a bit.
Please.
Yeah, the reason Dave reached out to you guys because I gave him some information from the meeting that I was in on Monday. I talked to DFA on Monday. So basically, what happened is the way Lawrence explained it at that meeting, it sounds like the way Lisa's saying, you know, they're gonna pay for all the preliminary stuff, and then the funds were there to do the construction, but we wouldn't know how much those funds would be until we got the cost estimate and all the preliminary stuff was done. So it sounded all good and stuff when Lawrence explained it that day, but the way DFA explained it on the Monday's meeting is that um, the TA application that was submitted in 2019 for the potholing mapping and all that stuff was going to get approved, but we would have to submit a construction funding application through FAST to apply for the construction funding. So then I told them, well, that's not the way Lawrence explained it, and if you try to come with this information to either Lake of the Woods Mutual or Fraser Park PUD, they're not going to accept it because they have the $10 million and the $5 million guaranteed with DWR. So they're not going to want to have to submit an application to see if they would get the funding. So then the guy that was talking to us through DFA, he's like, well, yeah, I did kind of hear Lauren say that. So I'll check with, I guess the director from DFA or somebody's going to be on that call tomorrow. So they would give us the information of which way is correct, whether the way Lawrence explained it is correct or the way the other guy explained it is correct. Because I know you guys don't want to go with DFA if you guys have to submit a construction funding application, because that would mean that you no longer have that money there. You have to apply for it like everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And so it's totally up in the air.
Right.
Yeah. So I think after, I mean, you guys can't vote on anything right now until you hear all the information tomorrow. And then we also need to get all the information from DWR as to see what exactly their process and procedures are, because I don't think I've never worked with them before as far as funding. And Lisa is correct with what she was saying, as well as that DWR normally they expect all the preliminary stuff to be done before they give you the funding. But Dave was saying that there's a possibility that that DWR will fund, you know, all the mapping and potholing, all the planning stuff. But that's something that we have to find out for sure. Because if not, you know, you guys can't access that $10 million until all that preliminary work is done.
Right, but what needs to be discussed in the meeting is because what was submitted to the DWR, it says engineering preliminary, $290,000.
Oh yeah, we included it in there, but we got to find out exactly if
Right, but the thing
how
is
hardcore their procedure is to say you guys have to have this done before you can access the $10 million.
Yeah. So really, we should just table this to the next regular meeting until we have our conference call tomorrow, and then we're going to know a lot more.
Yeah, and I know you
Okay.
guys will be on tomorrow, so we'll make a word so that we can discuss the DWR funding. But it's
Can
like, you know,
can I
Dave and
say-
myself were discussing that if you guys don't, I mean, if you guys have to submit a whole new construction funding application, that I'm thinking you guys won't want to go with DFA. That was my
Right.
assumption.
Right, but my concern is that the PER is the PER. They're paying for the PER, but they're not paying for initial potholing and mapping. Nowhere on that letter does it say the stuff leading up to the PER. The PER in order to come up with a PER, you need to have all of that information already. So yes, I agree that we need to talk about it tomorrow, but I think that's, what was being said also is that unless we have all of that information first, there's no PER that's going to happen because you're not doing them simultaneously. You're getting money.
One leads to the other.
Yeah, but
Correct.
Dave was saying that DWR has funded
Potholing.
preliminary stuff before, so that they probably would be open to funding it. We just have to find out exactly all the. I mean, we don't have a what do you call it? A funding agreement from them yet, so we don't know exactly everything that's laid out. So we'd have to get that information as well. Hopefully, tomorrow they'll be able to explain whether they can pay for that upfront, or you guys would have to pay for it yourselves or find other funding.
Okay.
And
So
I asked
I'd
about
like to move that we
I asked about
table-
using the safer funding for this, but my manager said, well, that should have been included in DWR funds, and I said, well, it was. So maybe.
So we need
Maybe-
to discuss that on the phone call tomorrow. We need to bring that up.
Yeah, and maybe if you guys do go with DWR, and DWR does require that you do that on your own, then maybe we can we'll have a better case for using the safer funds to pay for that.
That makes sense. So let's table it and then talk on the phone tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say so, because we don't have all the information we need, or you guys need to make a decision.
So we'll table all the 8 then, huh? A, B, and C.
Yes.
Okay. Number 9, discussion vote on community water system COVID relief program. Johnny?
Nope, that's going to be Tiffany. She's the one working on all that.
Any report, Tiff?
Yeah, I attended a webinar put on by the state to go over the program survey, which is a questionnaire. And basically, this funding is going to cover arrearages from March 2020 to June 2021 for customers on their water bills. And it will actually include any accounts that we sent to county for collection. We can also get that money as well. And what I did is the state actually offers that if we would like technical assistance help with filling out this application, that we just have to apply for it. So I was able to do that, and within an hour, I got approval and they assigned self-help to help us with the application. So I'm assuming self-help's gonna reach out to me and help me compile all the information that I need in order to fill out this survey. And they're expecting that they're going to start to distribute the funds in November, as soon as November.
Wow, excellent, beautiful. Good job.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm sure you'll keep us posted.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that, Carlos?
Yeah, Tiffany, as far as the survey goes, that needs to be submitted by September 10th.
Right.
Yeah, so it's those are questions that are easily answered by the district. But if you want, we can review it together if you want.
Okay, yeah, I know that the state emailed Self-Help Enterprises, and somebody over there acknowledged and said that they will be providing the technical assistance for the application.
Yeah, the application, this is not the application.
The
The
survey.
application will come after the survey. Yeah, for the
Right,
survey,
right.
it's just standard questions.
Right, I did look
And
at some of them.
yeah, they're all standard questions for the system. But like I said, we can look we can go through it together if you want.
Sounds good.
And then Lake of the Woods completed theirs already, so we can use those. You can use theirs for help as well.
Okay.
So you'll get with them next week sometime, Tiff?
Yeah, I'll be working on this.
Okay, perfect.
And then you also need to compile like all the people that are late. You know how much money you're requesting and everything.
And is there the
And I
mechanism-
also have an.
Go
What was
ahead.
that?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Carlos. I just have a question
Tiffany,
after you.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I just Tiffany, do we have a mechanism for figuring out if if those do get paid and covered by the state, then for removing them from the Kern County tax roll?
No, they're actually not going to be removed from the tax roll, and the state specified that. What happens is when we put it to the tax roll, we zeroed out their account as far as our billing system. So they will cover the funds, and when we get the funds for what we submitted to county, we're actually supposed to put a credit on their water account toward future bills.
And another thing I'm gonna have to investigate and find out on is, I know that if you're giving more than like $600 to one customer, then you have to file a form. What's the name? I can't remember the number of that form.
It was the 1099-C, and they
Yeah.
haven't decided yet if we're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, and that's something that you're gonna have to consider, because in the training that I was part of, they're saying some systems only went up to $600 or right below 600 because they didn't want to have to do a 1099.
That would
So-
make sense to me because it costs more money for our bookkeeping to send out the 1099. So if you said it
Yeah,
is
so-
$599, that makes sense.
So we'd have to find out if they're gonna if they are gonna require that or not. If they do, then you guys are gonna have to figure out if you guys want to do 1099s. But as far as I think they were saying, well, like let's say someone owes 1,000, and you're only charging them $599. What are you gonna do with the other money? I think they were saying, well, then if they don't want to do 1099, they're gonna have to forgive that extra amount or something like that. But I guess we'll cross that road once we find out.
Yeah. We'll continue to follow this, right, Tiff?
Yes.
Okay. Number 10, review and approve state update meeting minutes for 8/19/2021.
I had a couple of corrections on those.
Okay, Director Schoenberg.
Okay, so on the first page, under 2B test well work at the bottom of 2B test well work, it says the test well project came in about $60,000 under budget. It should read something like the test well portion of this project came in about 60,000 under budget, because the project is not test wells, the project is consolidation. So I don't know how you want to
Good call.
fix that, so that, I mean, it may have been, I don't know how it was said without listening back to, but if you can listen to that, Tiffany, and if we need to amend that so that it makes sense, we might have to put like a little asterisk or something, but it may be that it was actually said the correct way. I don't know. Because I know on these you paraphrase it, right? It's not word for word.
Correct. Yeah, I
So-
can make the change.
Yeah, so that was one change. The second change was on page 3. There's a typo at the very top of the page. It says the also received a grant. It should be they.
Catch.
And then I had brought this up on a previous minutes, but it's still the same. Under number 3, there's a community water system COVID relief program. It's really not part of number 3, the pipeline replacement. It needs to have its own number. So you may need to, I had said that last time, but you may need to renumber or do something so that that comes up differently, because it keeps coming up and looking as though it's part of number 3. And then let's see. And that's all.
And you might
Okay.
want to update your minutes, Carlos, that you have for the meeting. Because that's where it was at on your minutes, so we need to give it either a line item if we want to discuss it.
Yeah.
I don't know why we need to update the state on that.
Well, because it is part of, I mean, it is something coming from the, I don't know, we've had it as part of this whole state, because it's
Right.
kind
So
of
so Carlos, just update your minutes that when you provide it for
Yeah,
us for
I'll
the
just-
next meeting.
or his
I'll just
agenda,
put it under a different.
Your
line item.
agenda, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, I'll
you.
just put it under a different line item by itself.
Okay.
It's just, that's where Dave had, all the funding. I think I had put it under the funding. But I'll change it though.
Yeah, it's just a little confusing for somebody reading minutes because it looks like it's part of pipeline.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Someone like to make one?
You want to make the motion, Brahma, or?
I will make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for Thursday, August 19th, 2021 at 10 a.m.
With the amendments.
with the amendments mentioned in any typos that we find.
I'll second that motion.
Director Nyman has seconded that motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly. You ever come back to us?
Nope.
No, and
Hope she's okay.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0, 1 abstention. Motion carried. Shall we forgo the 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, number 11, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information.
We don't have Deborah here.
Okay, so we'll,
I suggest that though.
Yeah,
But,
and I went ahead and
Are
authorized
you guys done with me?
Deborah to not be here because Brahma had gone over those few checks with her, and she had she was going to be down in the valley today. So
any report from you, Director Nyman?
I don't have a check detail, but what I can tell you is I'll just go over the checks we approved. You want to go ahead, Lisa?
No, I don't know. You have them in front of you. I was just going to say that I was part of that as well. So Director Nyman and I were both present and went over all the checks to be paid with.
All right. So we
I'm
put
sorry to
in.
interrupt, Brahma. You guys are done with me, right?
Yes. Thank you, Carlos.
You guys have a good
Thank
night.
you, Carlos.
Dee, we're done with you. You can leave us too.
Thank you, Dee. Have a good night.
Thank you, Dee.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
We'll be talking very shortly.
Oh, wait a second, Dee.
Yes.
You did, have you gotten us the invoice number from Johnson Drilling? Because we need to approve
Yes,
that.
he sent that and we just got it really late. After we had cleaned up everything and put the checks back in the safe, blah, blah, blah. So it was not cut. I'm going to be meeting with the bookkeeper on Tuesday and we will cut that check. And then, it'll have to be taken around to be signed.
Right, okay.
We need to approve it for tonight.
Right, do you have that? I don't have that particular one. I left it on the desk at the office, so I don't know what that amount is.
It's on the claim. So that's the one I was talking about earlier. Yeah, I can.
Okay, all right. So the checks that we want to approve tonight, there's one for US Postal Service for $1,000 to update our account. So you can go ahead and go, Dee. We got you covered.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we had what we needed. Then we had a check for $155 for PC Pal, Mountain Top Graphics for $246.68. We have the final payment to our previous bookkeeper, Linda Wilkie, of $1,000 for the additional payment for July 2021 that we approved the last meeting. Then we have a replenishment of petty cash of $160.50. Then advanced data storage for $28.75, and then we're paying West Air gases and equipment for acetylene. It's a total of $118.28.
And then the other check that has not been cut yet is part of claim 9, but we need to pay it directly to Johnson Drilling because it's going to take too long to receive the money. It's $116,308.50. And what's going to happen with that is I'm going to transfer money initially from our capital improvement reserve, and that is going to go into the planning account, and then we're going to cut a check from the planning account to Johnson Drilling, and then when we receive the money from the state, that's going to go back into the planning account, and then it'll be placed back in the account that we took the money out of. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention, so we did not hear back just before we approve all of this. We did not hear back from our attorney yet, unless Tiffany heard back today. I didn't see an email in terms of some items we asked him to discuss with us in regard to our bookkeeper. But what I had Tiffany do, and I just need an approval also at this point on that, because I believe Director Garcia may have already signed it, but it needs to be approved by the board. We went ahead and filled out the blank spots in our contracts because Deborah's already worked for us for 2 days, basically. And so as long as she's signed the contract and we've signed the contract, I wanted to get an approval of her being the our contracted bookkeeper for the moment. In the contract, we're re-reviewing it at the November 2021 regular meeting, whatever date that is. So the contract only goes for a little over 2 months, and then at which time, per what we had agreed upon at a previous meeting, we will be re-reviewing things and then changing the dates on that contract. And we're one more thing, and we're also waiting for her to give us her insurance, her insurance indemnifications. So I don't know what's happened on that, but we were waiting to hear from her on that as well.
So we need to discuss with her what her payment will be for this month because she has not worked a full month.
Right, well, it's the way the contract reads, it's hourly with a maximum of 2,500. So she needs to submit, and the way the contract reads, she needs to submit documents to us for what her actual time worked is, but it would not go over 2,500 unless the board approves that.
Well, I realize that, but we did approve her for a monthly amount.
No, we didn't. The
Yes, we
contract is-
did. You better go back and read it because she said she wouldn't work for less than that.
That's why we're re-examining it at,
I agree with you. So what I'm saying is next month, she's going to get the full amount. But this month, I think we need to be clear with her because I don't think she should get the full
but
amount.
she doesn't get that full amount according to the contract unless she's actually worked those hours. And I think she understands that. So
She does not understand that. It was not clear, Director Schoenberg, because when we had the discussion, and this is my recollection of the meeting, and we need to go back and look at that, is she specifically said that she would not do it for less than the $2,500 a month. And that was going to be her monthly pay. And it was not tied to the hourly rate. And that's why we said we were going to review it in 3 months or in 2 months.
I believe that's not correct. I understand that that's what she initially said. That's not what.
I guarantee you, if you talk to her, she's going to have a different understanding, and then it's going to be a problem. I'm just saying that right here, right now, on the record.
She took the
No,
contract.
I think in the spirit of the contract, and because of her being who she is, I don't see her wanting or expecting a whole month's salary for
I
working
agree
for
with
part of
that,
the month.
but I'm just saying next month, that's what she's going to get as a full month. And Director
No,
Schoenberg keeps
That
saying,
is not what the contract says. It says with a maximum amount. She is under the understanding that we probably have 50 hours of work for her because there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of issues. So she's under the understanding that she's going to come in approximately 50 hours next month.
all
And
right,
she's also under the understanding, to my knowledge, that if that doesn't last and we have some issues, and as Johnny was saying, we don't need someone for 50 hours a month, then we would rediscuss it in November. That's my understanding.
all right. I just want to be clear.
Um,
Anyways, we should motion to pay our bills.
thank you.
Well, yes, I agree, but we also need to motion this contract. So, and it's not specifically spelled out, but it's accounts payable and financial. So it needs to be two separate. So I'll go ahead and move that we pay our bills, including the 116,000, it's really dark in my house, 308.50 that we have not cut yet from the planning account.
Okay, I second that.
Director Nyman has seconded that motion. Roll call directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly. Still no Kelly. Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0-1 abstention. Motion carried.
Okay, I also think we need to approve the signing of the contract from our attorney. I don't know, Tiffany, is that already signed by Deborah?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I would like to move that we adopt the contract with Deborah Angel as written, and that let's see, there was something else we needed. Oh, and that knowing that that is not fully accepted without insurance documents from Deborah.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Director Nyman has seconded. Roll call directors. Director Gibson,
Abstain.
Director Kelly,
She's having a problem. I called her and she says she's unmuted, but it's muted on our screen. Can you go in, Tiffany, and maybe unmute her?
No, it doesn't allow me to unmute her. It only allows me to request that she unmute herself. I can try it. I hit the button.
Well, maybe she should log off and then log back in.
Spread it around, all right. I bet you Doyle's spreading it right.
Okay. Did you say Director Nyman?
Oh, okay, okay,
Okay, Terry's here.
okay. I got
all
it.
right.
Aye.
Have you been following along, Director Kelly?
I've been following, been listening, got it all.
Okay, the vote is.
Zoom just told me to
you.
go *6.
The vote
Okay.
is to you.
What was that?
The vote is
We're
to you
taking a vote right now.
on the contract.
On the contract, I'm an aye.
Okay. One abstain, one aye. Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. We have 4-0, one abstention. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, number 12, review of resolution FP -202-10826-01 regarding the resolution for change of officers of the district and authorized banking.
I have one thing on that. I believe we need an amendment, or we need to have one change in two spots on that. Under the first paragraph, whereas due to the need to restate account signers, blah, blah, blah. I do believe it needs to be in one of the, a comma, and then somewhere the need to establish new accounts. And then that needs to be repeated under the further resolve, this resolution revises and restates descriptions, names, designations of accounts. Because it's not just revising and restating, it's creating, it's revising, but it's creating two new accounts. And I don't think we need to list the number. It just needs to say the need to establish new accounts. And then the second spot.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense, Tiffany?
Do you want it up top in the first paragraph, and where's the second?
The second paragraph is under further resolve. It's down below Brahma's name. And that says further resolve, this resolution revises and restates for California Bank and Trust the descriptions, names, designations of accounts at California Bank and Trust. So it needs to say something like descriptions, or it needs to say the resolution revises, I think creates new accounts first. This resolution creates new accounts, revises and restates for California Bank and Trust. Something to that effect. It needs to, it's not saying anywhere that we're creating new accounts. It's just saying that we're revising and restating accounts.
Okay.
And then I think that's the only, let's see. And I had one question about the visa for Johnny. Wasn't that number already changed, or are we going to change it again?
No, I haven't gotten the last 4 yet, so that's why I put the X's.
Okay.
You can fill in whatever that new information is.
Okay, so, and when we motion this resolution, it needs to state that, this will be taken to the bank and the new account numbers will be created at that point, because we need the resolution to say that we can create new accounts, and then we'll be able to get new account numbers. So it'll be amended, the in red X's will be placed in there once we have the new accounts established.
Okay. And will make sense. I'll entertain a motion to reword the resolution.
Why don't you do it, Lisa?
And then we've got Deborah's name on the back or on the third page,
Correct.
and she's agreed to that, right?
Yeah, just authorize her to view and print out
Okay,
statements and.
okay.
Yeah, all that does is it allows me to, we've already taken our previous bookkeeper off of the online account, but it allows me to place her with the restrictions in the online account so that she can view and print statements and print transfers.
Okay.
Although I send the transfers generally. So I'd like to move that we approve resolution FP 2021-0826-01 in the matter of FPPD financial accounts held at California Bank and Trust, board positions, account signers, and account designations, with the amendments mentioned.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Director Gibson has seconded the motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0. Motion carried. Okay, let's see. Number 13, discussion vote on future agenda items. I think we've carried them along as we've come, unless someone has something else to add.
Nope.
Okay, hearing no, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Director Gibson has seconded that motion. Roll call directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. We are adjourned at 8:12 p.m. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Board, have a good evening. Good night.
Thank you.
Director Nyman, before you hang up, I can't remember if we signed